Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is StudioPlug, and in this video I'll be showing you guys how to make a Migos type beat. This is gonna be more of that Murda beat style. So I'll be using 3 Omnisphere VSTs. This is the VSTs I'll be using, and the names are right there of the preset used. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the sounds, and you'll see right here what the names of each sounds are as I play them. Alright, so before we get started, I'm just going to go ahead and lower the volume. And do the same for the rest of them. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is make sure that the tempo is lowered. Migos has some of that slower tempo, which is 120. And, it gives it that better rhythm when they're rapping over it. So let's go ahead and start with building the melody first. So now that we have our melody down, let's go ahead and copy it and paste it onto the next VST just to layer it. So the next thing we're going to do is just lay down the flute, just to give it a melody on top of the melody we already built. So now that we have all the sounds highlighted, I'm just gonna go to the first mixer, push Control Shift L, and now we have all our sounds there. For the master, I'm just gonna go ahead and turn off this limiter and add some effects to our sounds. So let's go ahead and get started. Next thing I'm gonna do is just lower the sounds a bit. I don't want them too loud as we're laying down all the sounds. Alright, so now the next thing we're gonna do is add that bass line that Migos has in his beats, well, Murda beats. So we're just gonna add that one bass line, and it's gonna be in the same note. So let's go ahead and just add it. Alright, so for this part, we're just gonna lay down the hi-hats and just make them sound really crisp for this Migos type beat. Just give it that, that more high quality feel to it when you're making the hats. So we're just gonna go ahead and pan and mess with the velocities after we lay these out. So let's go ahead and start laying them out. I'm just gonna lower the volume before we actually start. So this little magnet tool just makes your hi-hat shorter. So if you're at 1/4 of a beat, you can only stretch it to 1/4 of a size. And if you have it to 1/4 of a step, you're able to downsize it more. That way you're able to lay out more hi-hats as you're making your beat. So you can see I'm not going all out with the hi-hats. That's because it's a Migos type beat, and it's not one of those ambient beats where you're just gonna throw too many hi-hats and have it, have the reverb all everywhere. So we're just gonna kind of settle down and give it more of a vibe as we're doing it. So let's go ahead and just add a little bit more, but not too much, as I said. So the next thing we're gonna do is set it to 1/3 of a beat. That makes your notes go to 1/3 of the beat. So it's still gonna be on track. It's not gonna be off beat as long as we put it in the right spots. So let's go ahead and do so. Alright, for this next part, we're just gonna add this reverse hi-hats that we have. Now let's add the kick to match the bass. So same way we did the hi-hats, not adding them all too crazy, is the same way we're gonna edit the open hat. We're not just gonna leave it have the whole entire hi-hat play all the way through. So that's it, playing all the way through. We're just gonna have it cut, and we're just gonna add it as we go as well. So let's go ahead and listen to the beat and see what sounds best. Alright, so that sounds cool like that. Next thing we're gonna do is just add the crash, which is just in the beginning. Then the next part is just adding the claps and the perk. Alright, so now we're just gonna get into the mixing. So we have the flute here. We're just gonna go ahead and silence it by pushing Control and pushing on the green dot right there. Then click on your first slot, add a parametric EQ. Then we're gonna just cut off the low end, the bass that we don't need, and any of the highs that we don't need. So let's go ahead and play it, and you should be able to see it, and you should also be able to hear it as you're doing it. Okay, so this next part, I'm just gonna go ahead and add the stereo separation from the main mixer channel. I'm not gonna go ahead and add the VST as I find that unuseful and a waste of time. So I'm just gonna do it from right here. Alright, so that sounds nice. Next thing we're gonna do is EQ the childhood bells. Also, as I'm doing this, I like to keep the VST instruments at around 30 volume, negative 30 dB volume on the mixer. Alright, so now let's go ahead and mix the 808. Okay, for the hi-hats, let's get back into it and let's mess with the panning and the velocity. Alright, so let's go ahead and just mess with the panning. Alright, so now that we have the hi-hats down, I'm also going to push down the stereo separation on this one to about 50. Then add a parametric EQ, and let's get rid of all the bass it has. Now that we have an EQ, let's go ahead and add a reverb. And for right here, we're just going to bring the stereo separation down also to about 25. Bring the size up, bring the high cut down, and bring the damping slightly up. And that will give it a better reverb effect. And that's what the Migos beats kind of have, and if you hear it in their voice too, they always have that high quality reverb in their beats. So let's go ahead and hear how it sounds now. Alright, so you could definitely tell it sounds a lot more cleaner than being basic. Next thing is the reverse hi-hats. So we're going to do the same thing with the reverb on this one. Alright, next part is the kick. So let's add an EQ also to this one. Next thing we're going to do is the open hat and also EQ and add reverb to it. So what I'm going to do is right click on this hi-hat file, hold on to save and mixer track, and go to open hat. And I'm just going to rename it to open hat. I know the color's off, but let's just still make this beat anyway. Alright, so now let's EQ the crash. I like keeping the kick louder, also louder than all the other sounds. Alright, so by this point you guys should know that we're just removing all the sounds that a sample would need. So like the clap, it doesn't need any bass, so we're going to remove it. The mids, it doesn't need either as much. Sometimes it does, so be careful with what sound you're using. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add my master to it. So now let's see how it sounds mastered. So now that we have it down, let's go ahead and structure the beat. So I split all of them by channel. I'm gonna highlight all of them and bring it to the first track. I'm also gonna add this time marker. It's gonna be my intro, and then I'm gonna have my hook followed by my verse. So let's go ahead and start adding them. Before we get more into it, let's go ahead and add this crash, reverse it, bring it down. Let's go ahead and just mess with it quick by going to events, bring it down, and just connect to where your beat drops. Just lower the volume a bit, and now we have our rise to the beat. So let's go ahead and complete it. After the verse is done, I like to just get rid of the melody that's gonna have on top of it and whatever bells it has. That way it has that ambient feel. I'd like to get rid of the bass also as the verse comes in. I remove the hi-hats, the open hats, the kicks, and we'll probably leave the open hat for the second bar and leave everything else, see how it sounds. Alright, so that sounds dope right there. Next thing I'm gonna do is just add the crash right there. Then the beat's gonna drop, so I'm gonna add this over here, but I'm not gonna want the flute to play just yet, as I want that more maybe down the bridge or in the hook. And I'm gonna get rid of I'll probably get rid of the hi-hat, see how it sounds. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is get rid of that hi-hat. We're going to go ahead and duplicate these 4 bars that we have here, and we will add the flute right there also. And right when the beat's about to drop, we'll probably just leave it just with the sounds playing. Maybe the clap and the perk. Maybe the open hat again. Let's get a crash in there. I don't want to have too much sounds right there, so I'm just going to bring this reverse crash, and put them. I'm just gonna put them in all the little spots where they fit in. So let's go ahead and add the hook now over here, and we'll rename this bridge, and we'll name this one hook. And then we got our bridge, hook, and verse. So now that we have that, the next thing we're gonna do is grab our hook and lay it down right there. We'll name this bridge again and name this one hook. Add another one and just call it outro, and we'll duplicate the hook quick also and get rid of the bass, the hi-hats, the kick, and then for the last bars we'll get rid of the flute, the reverse hi-hats on both of them. We'll get rid of the open hat, and we'll leave everything. We'll get rid of everything besides the crash and the VST sounds. So let's see how it sounds. Before we keep going, I might make this one unique and we'll just clone it. And since it's for the verse, we're gonna put them where this verse goes also. Let's go into it, push control down and see how it sounds for the verse. So now we have it down. It was not that hard. It was pretty easy. Just a lot of demonstrating for you guys. So as you guys seen, it's not really that hard to make a beat. You just gotta have the sounds, as in I have the bell sound, the flute, and you know, a reverb sound in the background, like that ambient sound. Then I also got a bass line, which is needed in the beat. We need some hi-hats. The reverse hats was just to spice it up. I added a kick, the open hat, the crash, the clap, and the perk. So it's not really that much different, but it does stand out, and you can hear the quality of the beat. It is really sharp and really crisp, and it's banging. So just letting you guys know, don't overdo it. Don't add way too much stuff and start getting all technical when you don't really got to do much, as you guys seen. Anyways, this Fruity Loops template is free down in the description below. Let me know what you guys would like to see next in the comment section. Also, I'll be dropping a lot of tutorials this month and these next months to come for you guys, and just put you guys up on game. And I will be having branding visuals coming soon for producers to help with Instagram promos and YouTube promos as well. So that's going to be big for you guys, that we're going to be dropping real soon. So just be on the lookout for that. Anyways, that is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.